Hey, Chad Evans again, back in the Stone State studio with my very dear friend, Dena, with Just Dena. Dena, how are you, Dena?
Good morning, Chad.
Yeah.
I'm doing awesome.
You're always doing awesome. Spring has sprung.
It has.
How's
no
things
coat
going?
today.
Well, I don't know. I had a couple coats on today. This morning was a little chilly.
I'm sorry.
Well, welcome back to the party.
Thank you.
We're going to talk all about interior design. We have guests with us. We
Yes,
have
we
Jeff
do.
and Nancy joining us on the program
Thank you.
today.
Yeah,
Good
nice
to see
to be
both
here.
of you.
Yeah, thanks for having us here.
Born and raised in Bloomsburg?
Bloomsburg, yeah.
Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania,
Yeah,
the
all
only
in.
town in Pennsylvania.
Exactly.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dena has helped you out in the past. I think what we should do is kind of start the conversation about maybe introducing yourself and how we came along to meet this fine lady we call Dena. So Nancy, do you want to go ahead and take the lead and tell us about how you met Dena?
Sure. So many years ago, I had a very dear friend that passed away, unfortunately, and she did all the design work for me. And I'm terrible, and I relied heavily on her to do that. And so we were in the process of renovating our home, and I was absolutely lost. So I didn't know what to do. I grabbed some tiles at M&M, and I brought them home, and I put them up against the wall, and I realized I had absolutely no way to do it. And I just started to cry.
Yeah.
So then I ended up going back to M&M to drop everything off and try again. And as I'm dropping everything off, I watched Dena walk around, and I thought, there's my angel. There's my person. And because I knew she was very, very talented, and I knew that from working close to her in the past, that she could be the one that would help us.
Fantastic.
And we started that conversation, and so we've done one house, and now we're working on a second renovation. But that's... So a lot of history, but then a lot of current work together.
Right. Yeah. No, it's been, I mean, your children were little babies at the time.
Yeah,
When
that
I
was-
first knew Nancy.
Yeah.
And like I said, my cousin Sandy, who also was an interior designer, was fortunate to start work with her and Nancy in her process, and, knew her over the years and from being in town and everything like that. But yes, it was like a beam of light went off when
Yeah.
we met each other in the hallway or the aisleway coming in the front door.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
That's wild. So talk about this new, it's not an addition, but we have a lake house. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, so we bought a lake house. It's a 1970s lake house.
Cool.
And it's 1,000 square feet. It's small, but it's everything still is exactly the way it was in the 1970s. I mean, it's the same refrigerator, the same stove, the same setup,
Same paneling.
same paneling.
The 70s charm.
Yeah.
70s charm. And it was designed to be like almost like a place for hunters to respite.
Yeah, sure.
So like there's no doors on certain places. So it's as we're thinking about getting closer to retirement and having some place to spend time where we can just kind of unplug and relax, having a little bit more comfortable surroundings is something that we thought about doing. And so again, we started the process and brought Dena into the conversation, and we already have very quickly identified exactly what we want to do and how we want to do it to maximize the space.
Yeah.
But also not do much more than what we need to do because it's a cabin.
Right.
Right.
Sure.
And when they contacted me back in the fall to tell me that this was a new project that they were doing, went up in actually November 1st.
Yeah.
It was the day I went up and met them up there. And growing up in the Benton area, I'm very familiar and had friends that lived up there. So I knew the lake as a child. And so it's really familiar. But one of the processes I said to them is that I felt they needed to get people in contact with the right people. And I have this wonderful architect. Her name is Carrie Potter, and she's from the area. And I connected the two of them together because I said that what you need to do, you need more than just a general contractor, and they had one lined up, which is great. But we needed to have some plans and some forethought. And I love the fact that it's the 70s, and I want to try to keep it in that retro 60s, 70s look, but update it and more modern. And it is a second home at this point, so and space is limited. So trying to maximize the space and still be able to sleep 6 people. Is a challenge because it's small. And again, it was a hunting cabin. But we're going to be doing some things not only with what we're building in the house or the lake house, is making maximum storage space for every place in there, like a Murphy bed. There's no sense having a bed set up when you could use it. If it's mostly just the two of them, we're going to make them an office so that they could actually work up there if they wanted to. Every room does not have to be a bedroom. You're wasting all that space, but they have a beautiful view of the lake. But also I wanted to give them some privacy if they did have people over. And I know they like to cook and entertain, so we're making the kitchen much more efficient, even though it's not really getting any bigger. It's just more efficient. And we worked this morning, was at their home, and we were able to, because of technology, we were able to Zoom with the architect this morning early and go over and talk through the plans.
But not too early.
I know. I tried to get them up for 5:30.
Is 5:30 okay?
5:30 is okay. They did. Nobody responded to that at all. But hey, that's when I do my best thinking of coffee
Sure.
at 5:30.
Sure. So, Dena, with your plan of attack with this, how do you take that? How do you keep that 70s charm and modernize it?
Well, it's mostly with the cabinetry that we're doing. Like, we're not going to put in shaker cabinets. We're going to keep it very clean, which would have been in the 70s. And the colors are more important. I wanted it still to be natural in nature. You look out and the hemlocks and the pines are looking down over the lake. I want to keep those natural colors, nothing crazy, for the colors. But keeping it very warm and convenient for them, for it's just the two of them, but then being able to change on a dime and make it more for family and gatherings and such. But also in that aspect, giving them a private patio off of their bedroom so that they could get away if there is company there.
Very good.
And just little things like I found them a shed that has a little greenhouse attached so that they'll be able to do some workings. And that's going to kind of provide a buffer. The front of the property looks like a cabin. It's
Right.
but trying to make it look a little bit more in the 70s look of the style with the siding that we're going to choose. And that's kind of going to be our next step, is kind of putting the things together and the layout inside. It's got vaulted ceilings, which are quite nice. They're not high, but it has a vault in it. So we're keeping the integrity of that there. But also making the rooms pass through. And Jeff, that was part of the collaboration this morning. He really liked the idea of being able to stand at the back of the cabinet and see out the front to the lake, because it's not that far.
Yeah.
But now you can't see anything.
Yeah, it's all blocked
off,
walls.
and it's all dark. Everything's dark paneling. It's very dark.
Cabiny.
Yes, it's very cabiny.
Yeah. Is
very.
this something, Jeff, that was this like a bucket list of yours that you've always wanted a lake house? Because I've always wanted a lake house.
Yeah, I think I thank Nancy, my lovely wife, who comes up with those great ideas that I think are impossible sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was challenged with some health problems in 2020 when we came across the cabin, and we were out for a drive to kind of clear the space, because 2020 was a challenging year for everybody.
Sure was, yeah.
On top of the health challenges, but we were just studying in the morning one day, and Nancy said, I think we need a lake house. And I'm like, yeah, I think we need a lake house. So, I was struggling with my health at that time, and the idea was, I don't think we're going to travel as much as we used to. Seems like maybe a constant necessity to be close to the Geisinger, because it's a great hospital. And then I said, okay, well, this is the criteria. It can't be more than an hour away. I don't want it to cost more than the house we live in. I don't want it to be a maintenance nightmare. And, for me, it was kind of a list that there was no way we were going to be able to. I just kind of threw it out there thinking we wouldn't. And when we went for this drive one day, we came across it. And in 2020, it was challenging to even get a realtor to kind of do that work. So Sullivan County in Pennsylvania opened up first in any of the counties in Pennsylvania, and that was where it is. So we jumped on the showing immediately, and people were really scared about real estate at that time. And everybody's kind of, you give it another 2 months and everybody wanted a lake house, because they were like, oh, we're going to be in quarantine forever, and or we need a place to escape. And that's eventually how we ended up with it. Bucket list, wish list, I just think, I grew up going to Ricketts Glen. It's in Sullivan County near Ricketts Glen. I went to Camp Levine as a Boy Scout, right there. Has a lot of history throughout the entire area where it's at. It's it's right on the Ricketts property where the lake was that Colonel Ricketts had, and it's a unique situation. So we want to incorporate the integrity of that first build of that camp, keep the center cut pine look of the ceilings and the open ceilings, and then have Dena work the style of, that 70s clean look. And, I'm kind of speaking out of the things I've learned from Dena and what Nancy and I kind of like together. So don't think the things I'm saying are not, but again, when you hear them and you see them as a design come together, the work we did in our home in Bloomsburg was amazing. The way we had the setup with the builder and the design that we had, it was a great design, but the way that it looks now is all because of the work we did with Dena. And
she brought it to life.
Well, we'll step back to that too. So that in the details, a lot of times when people are starting a project or doing a project, it all looks really good on paper, but they can't visualize the finish process. And Nancy and I had this conversation on the way down here. She said, when I close my eyes, do I see what do I see it? And I go, yes. I go, I can see it. And she says, well, I can't see it when I close my eyes. And that's where I think I help people, but I also get in their heads. Like I sit down and talk to them. I mean, I know what they like. I know what they don't like. And sometimes it's a hit or miss, but you have to get to know somebody. And I've had people over the years say to me, I've never had anybody ask me this many questions. I said, well, I want to get in your head. And I want to, and again, back to, I've said this before, it's their home. It's their lake home. It's their monies that we're spending. I just want them to spend it wisely and not feel like they made this huge mistake in something. And just one of the simple things, and we talked about that today, is the door into their bathroom. It was it's the existing house, and the door was small. It wasn't small. It was a standard door, but it opened in and it took up all this space. And all I said was, let's make it a double door. And it made the most difference with that.
Wow.
In things, just little things that we did. And then we have, clients do change their minds. You're allowed to change your mind and things like that. But and I'm going to go to a story. She called me, what was it, 6 weeks ago, Dena, after we just finished the bedroom, Dena, we bought a king size bed.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
And now nothing's going to fit that we just did.
Yeah.
But again, we were able to take, or I was able to take that look that they did. We repurposed it. We repurposed the bed linens in a spare bedroom, got them different ones, and we were able to, I want to repurpose the stands in the lake house. I go, we can use those up at the lake house. And they're already up there. So it got delivered. My sidekick, Josh, took them up there, with that. But I do get attached to my projects and my things. They're like my children. And I'm like, oh, I really like the way that looked in there. And I was sad. But then I'm like, okay, it's like watching your child grow to something else. And like, well, okay, we can make that work. And people think they're lost when they, how are we going to make this or duplicate the look? And I'm sure that they like the new look just as well as they like the other look.
Yeah, we do.
And I'm sure your daughter liked her big girl room.
I think that's really you added another room that really looks like a room in a home as opposed to a 16-year-old girl's bedroom. Which is fine when you're 16, but she's 19 now, and to come home to a different bed look and it really looked like, wow, that really fit perfectly in her room, and we didn't even, and then it came from the room that we just redesigned and had all the linens picked out for by Dena, and she was able just to flip it.
Yeah.
And because we needed the king size bed arrangement in that room based on, again, my health.
It's all Jeff's fault.
Again, but when you do those things or you make those changes, it's if the weight of the challenge of getting something like that is because of your health, you don't want to have to worry about how am I going to do this,
right?
Like and fit it in, because I know Nancy was like, "There's no way we're putting a king size bed in here, and it won't fit," or it just was.
And we never fight. Like we really never fight. But I came home and it was a busy day, and he's like, "Okay, we're going to get a king size bed." I've thought about it. I'm like, I love our bedroom. So it took me a little bit of processing, but then like, you know what? We'll just call Dena. She'll make it all better, and she did. And I think the other thing that I really value about Dena is she listens. So, and she incorporates like really unique things. So I'd mentioned we're starting to collect these uranium glass pieces, which are really super cool. Like they're in like the 1880s to the 1915s, and some of them are made in the 1970s, but they have uranium in the glass.
No way.
Like 2% uranium.
And they glow.
So when you shine a UV light on them, they glow. They're amazing. They're super cool. And so I said to Dena, I'd like to find some place to kind of put them. And so when she showed up today, I didn't even show you yet. She had this picture or painting that she's like, I found this painting and it's like this person holding this thing and we can do this. Like she already has it thought through and incorporated. And
we
how
haven't
it's
even
gonna look
started
and
the
where it's gonna
construction
fit.
on the lake house, and I've already got a piece of artwork in there.
Yeah.
But it's not like, oh, that's cute, oh, that's nice, that's a collectible, we'll just put it in a cabinet somewhere. It's like, okay, if this is something that you really love, we'll figure out how to put it in a way that is,
Yeah, I'd like to make it a focal point.
yeah, that kind of embraces who you are.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's just an inspiration can be a picture or like this uranium glass, and they call it Vaseline glass. Some people will call it
Right.
that, but it has this greenish cast to it, which is really quite cool.
Yeah.
That's remarkable. Like
And she asked me how many pieces, and guess what my answer was?
3
Or 5.
Or 5.
or 5. 3 or 5.
I went to 5 because I like it.
Dena, so we're working on this golf room for a while now, and she goes, "You're gonna need some pictures." So I said, "I get some pictures," and I got the frames for you. I said, "Great, I'll put them in the frames. I'm gonna hang them up there." And I was so proud of myself, but I knew something told me that I'm not gonna do it right. So, I took it upon myself because Dena said, she goes, "You could hang them, or I can come and do it." I said, "You're busy." I get the gist. So I hung up the pictures. So I stand back and I take a picture of the pictures and I go, "There you go, pal, up and running," or whatever I said. And Dena's like, "Love it. Can I come in and rearrange that?" The text just kind of coming out. She goes, "I'm sorry. This is what I am. This is my disease. This is like, all this." I said, yeah. Well, I kind of knew that one was coming, but it's just it's heartwarming to know that you have a Dena in your life to help you out with.
And I brought a
these kinds
hammer
of
and
things.
nails.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what you come up with there. When you saw the lake house for the first time, Nancy,
Yeah.
did you have like a vision of? I know you said you wanted to keep that '70s charm kind of thing to it, but did you have like ideas like right away of what you wanted to do, or was it something like, I like this structure, I like this space, I like where it's at, I'm gonna call Dena?
So when we first bought it, we liked the fact that it was by the lake.
Yeah.
We liked the fact that it was away from everything and that we could afford it. Like
Yep.
those are kind of the first
Yeah,
3 checks.
sure.
And then as we were there, we thought, well, let's live in here a little bit before we think about doing anything. Like, how are we using it and what kind of space do we really need? We went down a path for a little bit of just taking it down and building something brand new. But when you build up the top of the mountain, everything's like 3 or 4 times more expensive because you're bringing things up the mountain and things aren't easily accessible. And the cost got to a point where it wasn't feasible for us to do it and be comfortable. So then it's kind of like, well, let's take a step back. And then if we're just going to use the current space that we have, Jeff's really good at thinking through how do we protect what we have. So we put new doors in, new windows in, a new roof, just to make sure that what we had was structurally sound. And it's like, well, since we did all that investment, why don't we just gut the inside and just start from scratch? Like almost like a tiny house, kind of, put those little like hidden compartments and storage spaces. And we thought that was just right up Dena's alley.
Yeah. And it's enjoyable.
And it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
And that way we're not. And the other thing I love about Dena that she does, like kind of to your story, when you first walk into our house, we had like 2 pieces of things on the wall, like this little grapevine thing and a picture. And I never quite liked it, but I didn't know why. So when Dena's there, I'm like, you know what? I said, can we do something different here? She's like, yeah, you don't have 3. So she went over, grabbed a picture off a wall someplace else and just kind of stuck it on the wall. She's like, there. And it looks great. But like,
I told you the 3 thing.
But
It
the thing that's nice though is she doesn't say, "Hey, let me take everything that you have and take it down the Salvation Army, and we're going to buy everything brand new and put it here." Like she uses everything that you already have and just puts it in a place that it looks different and it looks fresh and it looks new, even though it's not.
Right.
And then just kind of plugs the gaps with the new. So I value that a lot too, because there's a lot
you.
of history with some of the pieces that you might not want to get rid of, but you don't like. Then you don't doesn't belong there. But she finds a spot for it.
What would you say, last question I have for you guys, but what would you say to somebody that might be listening to this podcast or watching this that might be on the fence or interested in acquiring Dena or an interior designer to begin with, what recommendations would you give to them about Dena, and what can you say more positive about her and her work?
So I would say, and you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, because this is my perception, but I think what I love about Dena is it could be something small of, hey, decorate my house for Christmas, or do something with my backyard. It's not quite what I need it to be. To, hey, completely gut the house and renovate the house and bring in a designer and help us figure out from start to finish what we need. So I don't think there's really a job that's too small, and I don't think there's a job that's too big. And then she seems to be able to toggle with whatever your comfort level is. So if we really wanted to get in and help us with something very specific, she can do that. Yeah. And if we say, hey, I love this, I don't want to change a thing, she's very comfortable saying, okay, well then let's maybe tweak a little bit here to make it fit with everything else, but we don't have to get rid of stuff to fit what her design is. She works with us. So I think it's easy just to start. Just invite her over to do just some simple design or just do some simple decorating, repurpose a space and then take it from there.
And Jeff, where do you, one of the things I get is usually the husbands are scared of me.
I can honestly tell you. So I've been blessed to know Dena since 1996. If I think that's when I was worker 94 when I worked at Kurlanchik Furniture when the so I think I'm a nuts and bolts kind of like, hey, when we purchased the lake house, we dug a new well, we got a new septic system, we put windows and doors and a roof, dry and warm. That's all, and functional. Yep. That's to me, and I know that Dena knows the functionality, purpose of everything because of the history and knowledge that she's had. So we were both in the furniture industry in the 90s.
Okay.
And for me, I'm still in manufacturing, and I'm still in that kind of nuts and bolts kind of world. And I'd be like, if everything is working functionally well for me, and then that design itself is more than likely good. And she knows the nuts and bolts. And so for me, an attractive point of that is that, she knows the industry that she's in from beginning to end. And I think that's really important, because if you only know a little bit about, or maybe you know a lot about one thing and you don't know how to connect the dots all the way through, like someone like Dena, then she can't actually visualize how one thing is going to get from here into your design to be something that you'll love for the rest of your life.
Right.
So I appreciated that. I'd say that if that would be a selling point for a husband or what, and I've known you for a long time. So, I'm not afraid of Dena at all. She's a sweetheart, and I do appreciate the work that she does. She's tremendously talented in the work that she does. And
thank you. It's wonderful working with the two of you. Yeah. One zigs when the other zags, and everybody's input. What Jeff thinks and as what Nancy thinks is just as important. And the three of us can put things together. And it was kind of fun this morning with Carrie added into the mix of just bringing up a suggestion we were talking about a project, with a safe in the house. And, there was different ideas, and, that was something that he wants, and I could tell that. I didn't particularly like the spot that it was going to be in, so then I made the suggestion.
Yeah, there was a suggestion.
And then that made the architect who knows the inner nuts and bolts part of it, which is not my forte, is like, oh, that would be an easier spot to put that in. She's like, oh, we could put it anywhere, and then but I'm thinking, well, it's farther back. But again, we figured it out together. It's not just one person. It's a whole team.
Right. Well, fantastic. I'm just waiting on the day where I'm sitting down and my wife says, we need a lake house.
Yeah.
So I will patiently wait for that day to happen.
So that was 6 years ago. I was 40 or 50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
50.
All right.
Yeah,
So I'm wishing upon that day.
There you
go. Yeah.
Jeff, Nancy, thanks so much for being on the program.
Yeah.
Dena, thank you so much for sharing your superpower.
Thank you.
And looking forward
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. And we're looking forward to having you guys chime in next time with Just Dena here inside the Stone State Studio. Take care.